Hello and welcome to the Bear Boost Traders podcast. In today's conversation, Thor and I share 6 actions that can help boost your confidence as a trader. Developing a high level of confidence in your skills takes time and consistent execution of good trading habits. With greater confidence, you'll be better equipped to make sound decisions in your trading. Let's get right into episode number 11, Building Confidence for Successful Trading. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bear Boost Traders podcast with your hosts, Carlos Moreta and Thor Young. And today we're bringing you episode number 11, where we talk about confidence and, how to build confidence as a trader. So, Thor, welcome, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on the last couple of days. I know you're traveling to New York, and that seemed like a whole lot of fun. You and your wife out there having a good time.
Yeah, brother, man. Good to see you, man. I feel like it's been a bit since we've been able to sit down and record. I did do a little traveling, hung out in New York, got to go chill at the NYSE for a few, got to see my dude Tuckman, the Einstein of Wall Street, and hang out with him. For those of you in YouTube land that can actually see, a rare opportunity, I actually went by and got him to sign a copy of my book, Complete Day Trading System. Look at that. All my love. Peter Tuckman.
Nice.
I'm just saying he loves me. But anyway,
he's a great guy.
So it was really cool. It was really nice of him to go by. If you guys go by my social media, which is at Thor Young on Twitter, at Carlos MBBT on his. But if you go by mine, I actually have a picture of me out in front of the NYSE with Peter signing it. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, had a great time, caught a bunch of shows on Broadway, kind of hung out with the wife, did the NYC thing. Actually just heard that I think BBT's doing an NYC meetup.
That's right.
It looks like the end of July, maybe.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that, guys. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. End of July, we're looking to have a NYC meetup here in my hometown. So this is going to be a whole lot of fun.
So I'll be there. Carlos will be there. Come hang out with your favorite podcast hosts.
There you go. Saying. Looking forward to
Artie will be there too. Just
meeting a lot of you, and also seeing some of the faces in the past. Right, we have a group. We started doing this probably 5 years ago. We started these meetups, and the first one was here in New York, and we still have people from that first meetup that get together. So can't wait to see you guys. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
It's always so interesting to do these to do these meetups too, because you're in New York, I'm in Florida, Andrew's in Vancouver, Peter's in. Where's Peter at? He's in
Toronto.
Like Toronto
is it Toronto or somewhere near Toronto, somewhere in Canada,
somewhere different part of Canada. So and we've got so we just have we have Megan and in California. I mean, so really these are our only chance to actually like get together as us, right? Like we're like best friends. Carlos and I, we love doing this podcast because we're like buddies. It's like we hang out, we get to like chat and do our thing, but yet we're states away. So it's when we get a chance to like actually hang out.
I don't think there's a lot of moderators that live in the same state. I know you and Susan do, are both in Florida. And we have a couple,
but I mean, we might as well be separate states.
I know it's like
she's
4
in
hours,
South
right?
Florida, and I'm in North Florida, so we're still 400, 500 miles apart or something like that. So
So yeah, guys, looking forward to that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Stay tuned to bearboostraders.com where we'll be announcing that, the details and all that information. So, all right, guys, today let's talk a little bit about building confidence, man. And this is a big, big topic that is important to every trader. It's important just in life, period, overall, to have that confidence, and in this show, we like to talk a little bit about also the personal side of things, and that can help you become a better trader, better person, better family man, community man, or woman, whatever, you're into as far as the community, clubs, or anything that you're doing in life that you're looking to accomplish, just how you can improve that. And trading, I'm telling you, trading does push you to the limits, and you become a really in tune with what your mind can handle and cannot handle when it comes to trading. But confidence, man, and I actually want to bring this up a little bit off topic, which we love to do in this show, also go off topic, is the gym is one of these things that can provide a lot of confidence when you feel good, when you're working out, when these exercises, they help you a ton to do that. And it's so funny. I just started getting to the gym again because I got to get back in shape. I got to start feeling, good about myself, and just everything with the gym. And I know you've gone through a transformation, Thor.
Oh yeah.
Was it 2 years ago? Where if you see a picture of before and after, I mean, you can see that the difference in your physique as well as your mood and everything else.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've lost the better part of 100 pounds. So since I started it, But my mental clarity too. I mean, there's my you just because when you lose weight, I mean, this is just biology. You balance out your hormone levels are better balanced. When you're hitting the gym and doing those things. But it's also it's a matter of it was funny. In order to become, these things all started as I started trying to progress as a trader, actually, which was really interesting, because what I found was, as I started having to execute in one aspect of my life,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't just do it there. Right. I couldn't just be on point as a trader and then go sit in so in order to
Yeah.
really get there, I found that I think they call it the halo effect, but basically it just started to like creep into the other aspects of my life. So all of a sudden, like, I'm being more focused and more physical, knowing that I'm going to wake up every single day and I am going to do the gym. I am going to follow my diet. I am going to do these things. Those build conviction and execution, and that's what we're going to talk a lot about today, I think, in building confidence is,
Mm-hmm.
the conviction. But we're going to talk a lot about how execution breeds conviction, right? Not
Yes.
the other
Yes.
way around. And your gym analogy is perfect for that, right? In the beginning, you're very unconfident. You don't feel good about yourself. But as you go, as you do it, as you see the changes develop, it's exponential, right? All of a sudden, what took forever seems like it took no time at all. My grandmother says slowly but suddenly. I think that's also like a Twain quote or something like that. But, I mean, it really comes on, Twain, Hemingway, I don't know, one of them. But it just comes on really aggressive like that. So I think it's really, really beneficial there, man. I think the only thing that really is a misconception there, which I think we should talk about too, maybe, is like some misconceptions is time. People assume that saddle time and doing it will bring you confidence. And I don't think that's true. I think it's only saddle time if it's saddle time doing the right things,
Right.
right? If it's
Right.
saddle time doing the wrong things, I think you could do it for 4 or 5 years. You're still going to be very unconfident. So,
It's
I
a,
think
it's a
I think the
great point.
easy answer is people say time. Time builds confidence. I'm not necessarily so sure about that.
Yeah.
But we're going to dive into this a little bit, so I think it'll be
Yeah.
fun.
No,
What do you think?
absolutely, man. And it's something too. And when it comes to time, and the next thing I think about is how you grading yourself, or how you judging yourself as far as your progress. And just today in the chat when we were live on YouTube for the pre-market show, and someone mentioned, it seems like everyone's making money except me, and
Hmm.
it made me think about the gym, because when I went into the gym, now I'm very confident when I go to the gym, regardless. I'm just confident overall. I'm a confident person, and that's just the way I am. Even though I'm not in my best shape, nowhere near. But as I went to the gym for the first time yesterday, I realized, man, if you come in here and it's your first time, it can be very intimidating, because everybody here,
Very.
all new faces, everybody's walking around stone cold Steve Austin, like, ready to rip a wall open. You come in, you're like, What's wrong? What's wrong with this guy?" you know.
Yeah. You're
So
like soft. This
yeah.
dude looks all
So
hard. You're like, what's going on,
yeah, so
man?
if you go in there and start getting into the training, and you're picking up your weights, getting into it, and you look over and the guy's picking up 50 pounds on a curl, you know, you can't judge your success and progress like that. It's very different. You have to look within yourself, say, hey, how am I doing? Am I progressing from time to time? Right? You can't compare yourself to other people and what they're
That's a big
doing.
lesson right
You
there,
know?
man. Because you got to think too. You're looking at that guy and you're comparing yourself, but what you're not thinking was he was me, right? That
Right.
guy
Right.
was where I am now at one point. And we see like Andrew, for instance, trading,
Exactly.
right? And we're
Yeah.
and we're just like, man. So all of these things, but you got to remember, Andrew was right here too. He's like our heavy lifter, right?
Right. Right.
In the stock
Right.
world now, he's getting into big boy, territory with the way he trades shares and the amount of P&L and all of those things. And we say, man, that's so amazing. But you got to think, he started somewhere, just like that bodybuilder or that
Right.
weightlifter
Right.
who's crushing weight, started somewhere too. What's the difference between you and him? I don't know. Maybe he hit the gym longer and harder, right? Which
Right.
is why
Right.
he looks the way he looks. Maybe he did a cycle better. Maybe he understands physicality better. What's going on there. It's
Yeah, exactly.
interesting,
So,
man.
so keep that in mind. And so, as we get into our main topic, which is again building this confidence and as a trader, and it's specifically for our new trader, this is going to help you a ton. But also for our experienced trader, this is a great kind of recap, a review of things that maybe if you lost sight of, if you kind of fell off the tracks a little bit, you can kind of get back in line and allow you to help you build that confidence, because it takes a bit to build. Everything takes a while to build,
Mm.
and it takes seconds to destroy, or minutes to
Yeah.
destroy, right? But it
It takes
build.
time. Time doesn't build it, but it does take time.
Oh,
You know what I
exactly
mean?
right. It takes time, and it can lose, you lose it so quickly. Like, for example, if you have a losses in a row, you can lose your confidence, right? One of the things you could do, guys, this probably the number one thing is having a plan in place. You got to develop a plan. If you don't have a plan, it's like, think about a highway, right? You have all these cars going at 80 miles per hour. If there was no rules in place, no plan for what's going on, it'll be mayhem. It'll be mayhem. So you really have to have a plan in place. It's got to be well defined. It's got to include your strategies, your entries, your exits, right? We talk a lot about this in our community, and if you guys are watching us on the podcast on audio, never heard of Burberry Traders, check out the website. We're a trading community, and you can see tons of educational material on there. But having a plan is key, man. And at first, it's so easy to avoid making a plan because you just want to get started right away. But if you don't have a plan in place that defines everything correctly, you could be in a lot of trouble. You could be hurting pretty bad pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, even at the most basic of levels, right? Even if we're just talking about gambling and we're just playing
Yeah.
the statistics, right? Who's a better gambler? The gambler that goes in there, picks a random machine and just starts throwing money into it, or the person who knows what the game is, understands the odds and the probability of the game, picks machines based upon the odds and probability of the game, and then plays those machines. Both can make a lot of money, right? The one can get super lucky and just hit it. One of them's going to make a better career out of gambling than the other, right? And
Hmm.
it's so at least at the most basic of points, you have to at least know what you're trying to do, because one of the biggest things that's going to help you build that confidence is being able to adjudicate your execution. How well did I do what I planned on doing? Right? That's your main component of, as we go through, half the thing I think we're trying to beat out of our new traders is just execute it. I really don't even care if you're right or wrong. I just want to see you doing what you're supposed to do, or what
Right.
you
Right.
thought you were supposed to do, because then at least I can tell you if you're right or wrong. But
Yeah.
what a lot
Yeah.
of people do is they don't build conviction because they don't have the defined plan. They don't know which criteria they're evaluating. So they end up just sitting there, just staring at their chart, going, this time this happened,
Yeah.
and
Right.
this
Right.
time this happened. You just spin your wheels, and it's really hard to get any kind of confidence when you don't understand what you're trying to do. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, Carlos, there's no rules, right? So you
Yeah.
don't know what you're even looking for at this point. So at the most basic level for confidence, you have to at least start by setting up a system you can adjudicate.
Yeah, yeah, gotta have that plan in place. It's gonna help you drastically to be able to even track things and also to grade yourself. Okay, am I doing well? Right? If you don't have a plan in place, it's this is not gonna work. You got to start there. The next thing is, and I know we preach this quite a bit, is trading in a simulation account. Right? You got to trade in
Mm.
sim. It's so easy to skip this step, and I say that because when I first started, I did the same thing. Man, I opened up a broker account before finding Bearable Traders. I mean, have we all done that? I think
Guilty.
I think we
Guilty.
we need to do a
Oh,
poll.
why? Because we
I
weren't
don't.
here to tell us not to do it. That's the problem,
This
Carlos.
podcast
We
was
were
not in
here.
place. That's what
The
it was.
tradingsimulator.com, freetradingsimulator.com did not exist yet.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we were not here to tell people to just hang on. Right? Ugh.
It's
Guilty.
man. I really would love to know how many. Put in the comments if you're watching on YouTube
Mm.
or tag us on
How many of
Twitter.
you have blown up your first account like I have? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. And
Come on, be
how
honest
many
with
of
me. Come
you?
on, comment.
Yeah, how many of you just started trading without even going to the sim account? I mean, it's just crazy to.
If you burned your first account, smash that like button.
Oh,
If you
absolutely.
burned your first account, come on,
We're,
people, work
we're
with
gonna
me.
get the most likes ever on this video, on this
there
podcast.
should be there should be 1 million likes by the time this episode
Yeah,
is done. We know
absolutely.
we've all done it.
But yeah, guys, we all start that way where we feel like, oh, we got this. Let's open up an account. And I said this in my onboarding class before. The whole process of opening a broker account is so easy. You know, you open an account, you fund it, sign a couple of forms. Yeah, I'm not a professional trader. Nobody in my family works for whatever company that's in the Nasdaq or
So easy.
exchanges. So easy. Next, in a couple of days, you're ready to trade in a market that you have no experience in. So that whole process of, I call it getting on the bike, right? The opening an account, like getting on the bike, is very easy. The minute you want to pedal forwards, when you realize that you can fall sideways if you don't know what the heck you're doing, and that happens to
Yeah.
a lot of us, right? It's just
Mm-hmm.
it's just insane. Um, So yeah, guys, practice in a simulation account. We have free simulation for you as well, man. Bearable Traders, tradingterminal.com, free simulator. You don't have to pay anything. So it's so easy to do this now.
I mean, that point is so helpful too, because one of the biggest things you're going to have an issue with is emotions, right? Because
Yeah.
emotions create variables. The market is built on fear and greed. That's how they own you. And they know it, right? So they're going to constantly do things to test your emotional control. So one of the best reasons to practice in sim isn't even about your money, it's about you, right? Carlos is talking about confidence and how easily that confidence can get unraveled, right?
Yeah.
Well, in
Yeah.
simulator, because you don't have to worry about your attachment to your money, so you have less emotions. It's really just kind of more pride at that point. You can sit back and be a little more honest with yourself, be a little less critical of what's going on because you're in simulator, and that is such a great way to iron out and start building that confidence. You should feel before you come out of simulator all the things we are talking about you should have in place. You should have
Yeah.
a system in place. You should have adjudicated it. It should be well performing through multiple market cycles. So I'm talking 6 months to 9 months of consistent performance in simulator. I know that seems like a long time, people. It's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
really not a long time because the market changes every 3 months to 6 months. The market goes through a completely different cycle. So you can learn to trade in a bull market and then go into a bear market right when you go live. You can learn to trade in a bear market, go into a bull, you can go into a kangaroo choppy market. These cyclical markets change, so you can't just put a month or two in and say, hey, I get how to do this. Let's go. As soon as you do that, the market's going to go the other direction, and you're not going to be prepared to play short, right? You're going to
Yeah.
only know how to
Yeah.
play long. And a lot of us had that, right? Because I know Carlos, you and I, we kind of started trading during a fairly aggressive bull market.
Yeah. Yeah. We
So it
did.
was like
Yeah.
in the beginning, all you had to do was buy the dip. You know
Bye.
what I mean? And you were just making money. And then, it was what, maybe 3 years later, we were playing COVID when COVID hit.
Hmm.
So we basically every day you sell the squeeze. As soon as it
Yeah.
rallied in the morning, it squeezed up. You just hit the short button. Really didn't matter where. You just hang on, and it was easy money. Now, today, we are in a kangaroo market, right? We're just chopping up and down, bouncing. We're never really going anywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So there are multiple market cycles you have to be prepared for. And doing that in simulator is by far the easiest way to really prove those out, not to the market. You don't need to impress them. They don't care. To yourself,
Yeah.
right? You,
Yeah.
you, you got to
Yeah.
know that you're able to withstand these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, man. And even for not just new traders, also, experienced traders, if you hit a wall where things are just not working out, because things change constantly, jump
Mm-hmm.
back in the simulator and build that confidence again, right? That I keep going back to the gym reference because, it's such a good one. If there's some days you're just not gonna feel it, you're just not gonna be able to push the same way. You got to drop the weight a little bit, and you come back tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll have more energy or the following week, and you can, go back to that weight that you were doing before. Not every day is going to be amazing. Same thing with trading. There's some periods of time where you have to kind of step off the gas a little bit, and sometimes even go into the simulator for a week or two just to kind of build that confidence. Another thing that I know, and this is one of the things that you don't see us do as we're trading live in the community, as we're doing this podcast or videos for YouTube as recaps. You don't see us journaling our trades, right? There's no camera showing at the end of the day where we're sitting down, journaling our trades, right? You don't see that part of it, but that is a huge part of the trading process, guys. So number three here is really analyzing your past trades, because if you don't do that, you're not learning from your mistakes. And if you're not learning from your mistakes, guess what? You're gonna 100% make those mistakes over and over again. I'm not saying those mistakes are going to be eliminated 100%, but at least you want to be aware of them.
Yeah, be aware of them and be honest with yourself about them, right? Like don't, if something's not working over and over and over again, it's not working. And a lot of the times where our desire to be right overweighs our desire to be productive. And
Yeah.
that's, you got to be really honest. This again, another good reason for simulator. It's not money involved, so the only thing you got to worry about is your pride about being wrong. And
Yeah.
once you're
Yeah.
live, it's your pride and your money. So it's really
Right.
hard
Right.
to take loss at that point. That's why a lot of people end up bag holding, because they don't want to admit they're wrong psychologically. They also can't admit they're wrong financially because it's going to hurt their account. right? So but these are things that must be ironed out before you go live. If not, you're going to do what I did. My first account, I drew down quite heavily, and my second account a little, my second
Yeah,
funding,
yeah,
I
same,
drew down
same.
quite a bit, and then finally started, making these realizations and going back into your simulator for a little bit, restructuring, starting over. I know our own Mike B, who is one of our lead trainers at PCT, P Capital Trainings boot camp. I've heard him talk about the story about how one point, after months and months of working, he stood up, grabbed his trade book, and just tossed it in the garbage can, sat down and started over because he'd worked so hard on it, but he wasn't getting any results. So he
Yeah,
just said, you know what? I'm done with this. He literally just dropped it in the thing. And then now I think he trades break of high of day,
yeah. That's
mostly. And
one of his
he
bread
has
and butter. Yeah,
very specific criteria and setup that he utilizes for that. And he crushes with it. Right.
yeah,
But it
yeah.
wasn't even his initial setup he was going after. So, but the data, because he journaled, because he built a system that he could adjudicate, he was able to figure out that the system he had didn't work.
Hmm.
Holy moly, like that's a big deal.
So
Like, what happens if you're
exactly.
trying to
Yeah,
learn a system and the system's not a good system, right? It
yeah,
doesn't matter how well you execute it, the system stinks. But the
yeah.
only way you're going to know that is if you can say, okay, this is the system and I'm doing it exactly the way I'm supposed to be doing it, and it's not performing. Now you get to blame the system, not you, right? And then maybe you have a revolution like Mike and you save yourself. Mike probably would have burned himself out of trading if he hadn't made that
Oh yeah,
decision.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He would have
If
continued struggling on that system.
if he didn't make the changes he made, and by the way, Mike has a book on Amazon. You can pick it up, Introduction to Trading Psychology, and how you can improve your trading mindset and performance. But yeah, if you don't make changes, you're in trouble. You're in
Mm.
trouble big time. So being able to go back and having this data, you brought up a good point, because analyzing your trade and going back and to help you make better decisions, build your confidence, is really all comes to having this data. If you don't have this data, you cannot make this progress. And I'd be surprised, even nowadays, not just in trading, data is the number one thing, man. Like, you realize sometimes you see these applications that are completely free and they help you do certain things, like with your finance. Like Mint is one of them. I used to use
Oh
them
yeah.
back in the day. I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool, Mint. You can see everything on there. But if you look through the terminology, like, why is this free? I got curious at one point. Why is some stuff free like this one? Well, guess what? They have your data, right? They have your
Mm-hmm.
data. What are you purchasing? How much are you is your income? That data to them is important, because now they have an information of how they can market to people that fall within your area, category, price, income range, right? That data is important, right? So same thing with trading. This data, all your trades, that's your data. For you, that is very important. You got to track that, and you got to analyze and make great decisions out of it.
Yeah,
Um,
the saying is, if you're not paying for it, you're the product, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's exactly it. It takes me to think about Think or Swim, right? And I saw some other comments, people complaining again about the fills. And I love Think or Swim. I use them for swing trading and long term investment. I have an account with
Hmm.
them. That was actually my first account before I got Interactive Brokers and Dash Trader Pro. I was trading with these guys, and they're completely free now. They went from charging for commissions to completely free, but you're paying that somewhere down
Yep.
the line. The fills are not as fast. Anything that's free commissions, you are going to be paying for something somewhere. These guys are not doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. At the end of the day, it's a
No,
business. um
no,
so
they're making money somewhere in there.
yeah,
They're working the spread or doing something
they're
to get a
working the
piece of that.
spread. Yeah, yeah, there's nothing free in this world, my friends. Here we are, except this podcast is completely free.
It
Yeah,
is free,
it
actually.
is free.
That's how
So
generous.
there you go. We're on the positive side of things.
No,
uh,
once again, it is kind of free, but you guys are also the product. So we want you guys to come by and watch our thing, and we want you to come join our community. We're really, proud to be members of the Bear Bull Traders community. Part of the reason we do this, honestly, is
yeah,
just
yeah,
because Carlos and I like hanging out and talking. And this gives us a reason. But the other is we want to steer you guys to where the best community for trading is, and we feel like if we're more forward facing, we'll find you or you'll find us, and then we can get you to come hang out with us and all of our
yeah,
trading
yeah,
buddies, because it's where it's at. We really like it in here. And we're talking about
yeah.
Mike, Andrew, us, all these different names we're mentioning. These are all moderators that are here in BBT that teach all these various. We've got moderators like Mike that are focused heavily on psychology. We've got, strategy moderators like me and Carlos that are more focused on, strategies and implementations and stuff like that. I mean, we got it all. So we
Yeah,
got
yeah.
options, Jared and Mike. I mean, it's cool. So yeah, you got, technically you guys are the product. Hey, if you like being a product, a thumbs up. Just kidding.
Yeah, yeah. So, and at worst case, you're leaving here with hopefully some good information that you can implement in your trading, guys. Hey, everyone, we're halfway through this great conversation. Before we continue, we have some exciting news to share. P Capital Trading has opened up registration for their May 2023 Mentoring Bootcamp. If you're looking for an intense training and mentoring to take your trading skills to the next level, be sure to check out pcapitaltrading.com for more information. I will warn you, at the time of this recording, spots were about 50% full. So if you are interested, do not hesitate. Get over to pcapitaltrading.com and see if there are any spots left for you to join. It is intentionally a small group of traders, so there could be more focus between the traders and the coaches. Once again, that's pcapitaltrading.com. Also, please remember, we love hearing from you at the Bear Bush Traders podcast. We love your suggestions and feedback for future topics. So feel free to reach us via email at podcast@bearbulltraders.com. Now let's dive back into our conversation about confidence. The next one is, focusing on the process and not the outcome. Now I know this is such a obvious one, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do this, right? They
Yeah,
don't
everyone
focus on the
kills this one,
process.
man.
I did
So I
at
have an
first too.
analogy. I got
Yeah.
an analogy on this one. So you've been there, you've been in corporate America, you know how this works. It's called the trust fall, right? And
Yes,
it's
yes,
you
yes.
get there, you stand on the chair, everyone gets behind you, or the table, everyone gets behind you, you fall backwards and they catch you. And it's called a trust fall, right? I don't like it at all, right? Because it's not really a trust fall. For me, it's a fall trust, right? You really don't trust anybody before you fall, right? You got to fall. Then when they catch you, you go, oh, they caught me. How
Oh, I'm
nice,
safe. Yeah.
right? Okay, now I trust them, right? So they kind of worded that one a little deceptively, which is probably on purpose, because I think if they call it a fall trust, nobody would do it. But this happens with yourself, right? We're going to go back to our gym analogy here. Why does the gym analogy help you? It
Right.
helps you because what you're doing is you're showing you that you are going to do the things you say you're going to do when you're going to do them, right? This is the biggest reason most of you are afraid. It's not because you don't know what to do. It's because you actually don't have any confidence that you're going to do the things you're supposed to do when you do them, right?
Right.
This is
Right.
why you need the strategy. This is why you need to journal it. This is why you need to do that, because as you fall and you attempt to develop trust, you're going to constantly go through and say, am I doing what I'm supposed to do? And even in loss, you won't be afraid if you know you're going to stop out where you're supposed to stop out every single time,
Right.
limiting your loss. You're going to know what you're going to lose when you lose, and you're going to realize statistically that you're going to lose. So it doesn't matter, right? As long as you're executing and doing the things you're supposed to do, painting those pretty pictures that we talk about, then what will happen is you will start to build confidence. But your confidence is actually not in your trading. Your confidence is in you and your ability to just simply
Facts.
follow through, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that is hard. Man, that is hard. That is the one thing people struggle with more than almost anything else. It's the managing your diet, it's the getting to the gym, it's the following through on something you told somebody you were going to do. All of
Mm-hmm.
these little things slowly undermine your confidence in yourself. And that's
Yeah.
that's the big kill right there, is if you can't trust yourself. Well, you can't trust the market. You can't
Yeah.
trust a
Yeah.
strategy. You can't trust anybody if you can't trust yourself to at least, look after number one and do what you're supposed to do.
That is such a good point, man. And even I just posted something on my Instagram. It's also Carlos M at BBT. Though I don't know what your Instagram is. I'm not sure if you have do
I
have
don't,
one.
I don't have a
You don't have
gram
it from
because
okay
it's I keep it all on the Twitter
on the
for
Twitter
now, just
site.
because I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. Oh,
Hey, man,
this
stop
whatever,
hunting me.
man. Listen, I come back home. I realized that I never switched the account to from sim to live. So this whole
Mm,
time that was all just in the sim environment. But in my
yeah,
mindset, I'm live.
that's
So
right.
so
So
that
you're mad because you're getting
dude,
hunted.
That was
But
the biggest
you weren't even on the field.
biggest lesson ever, man.
Yeah.
Biggest lesson ever to tell me, yeah, the market's not out to get you. I made all these decisions. I drew this entire conclusion all in my head. The market cannot even see my order. And I'm not
Yeah.
even affecting the market. Right. So that tells you that, you have to really, and going back to our point here, focus on the process, man. If I would have focused on the
Yeah.
process, whether it was a live or sim account, whatever it was, if I'm focused on the process, and like you said, a great point about, you know, being confident that I'm going to follow my rules and do what I'm saying I'm going to do to stop out of the trade, I wouldn't be in the situation. You wouldn't be having
Right, because
this
that's part of
swings
why
and
you're so
emotions.
mad, right? Part
Right.
of the reason you're
Right.
so mad is because, what happens when somebody betrays your confidence, right? Or betrays your
Hmm.
trust? You get mad, right? You get
Right.
upset. I mean, because that's, especially as people, I mean, one of the most important things we have are like honesty and trust, right? We want to
Yeah.
trust each
Yeah.
other to build a good relationship. Well, what's that say about you, right? If you
Hmm.
can't trust you, what's that say about the relationship that you have with yourself, and
Yeah.
and and and
Yeah.
the confidence that you can have? Why are you so angry? Well, you just betrayed yourself, right? Like, you were
Right.
supposed to do
Right.
something, you didn't do it, you knew you didn't do it, you knew you were supposed to do it. Oh my, it this is why I had Hulk rules back in the day, right? because
Yeah. Yeah.
because you put enough of that together, and you can burn an account out real quick, because there is nothing. I was talking with a psychologist at one of the BBT meetups we had in San Diego, and they were talking about how when you get put under stress, it creates that fight or flight scenario, right? Where
Hmm.
basically it moves everything into your frontal part of your brain. So, and you basically lose the ability to properly think at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you literally need to get away from your desk, take a breather, do some
Hmm.
mantras or something. I don't know. You know what I mean? And get back into the right mental side. They call, fun fact, they call it going nuts for a reason, right? Because the front of your lobe looks like a nut, right?
Hmm.
So back in the
Hmm.
early 1900s, they would say someone is going nuts because it was a Freudian concept thing that, because all your activity is going to the front of your brain, you were going nuts, right?
Hmm.
So, and this is where this whole concept comes. Well, guess what? In the market, don't do that, right? It's very, very important. Like my man here, you can't do that, because if you can't at least have the confidence that me, myself, and I, the only thing I have control of, by the way,
Right.
in the market, is just me. I can't control price, can't control stop hunting or any of that. I can just
That's
control when
it.
I hit the button, right? And if I don't at least have faith that I'm going to hit the button at the right time and the way I mean to, it's going to be hard to do anything else. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got to at least start there.
Yeah. So focusing on this process, guys, again, we all want the outcome, we all want the money, but if you focus on the process and you trust the process and you build confidence in that process, it's going to make things a whole lot easier. And then eventually down the line, if you're doing all the right things, it's gonna take, Thor said this plenty of times today, time. It's gonna take time doing the right thing over and over again. You can start seeing, a progress and becoming a little bit more successful on the outcome side of it. Some of the stuff we kind of touched based on already is a part of the discipline, right? So, discipline is key to being a successful trader, and in building that confidence and the ability to stick to your trading plan, right? So it kind of all ties in together because the discipline part, you got you developing your trading plan, which is the first one. Practicing in a sim environment and analyzing your past trades. Focus on the process and not the outcome, and then that all comes with discipline, right? So if you have that strong discipline, which we talked about here in the show plenty of times, I mean, a lot comes down to that overall discipline in trading that you have to keep. And the last point we have here is, stay informed. Keep up to date what's going on with the market, especially now, man. There's so much stuff happening. With the overall market news, inflation, a possible recession now, soft landing, no landing. I mean, it's a lot of stuff going on in this market, and keeping up to date with things is going to help you make, better decisions. You shouldn't have a bias on what the market is doing because as day traders, we look at what the charts. We're more of a technical side of things. I mean, the fundamentals are important. I'm not saying completely neglect them. We had some really good fundamental trades this week. AI was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
They had a short piece about a possible alleged accounting issue. Well, that's not good. That was a short the entire day. So there are opportunities out there, but just keep up to date with the overall market, what's going on. So that's kind of it, man. About six things here to help you, build your confidence as a trader. And this is, I wish I had this information when I first started out. I never looked up any type of information or on how to become a more confident trader. But hopefully for those new traders, this is something that you can take with you and really put into practice.
Absolutely, man. It's really good information. I'm really hoping, you guys can take this. Keep tuning in. Obviously, remember, we've got an email that you guys can hammer at us if we love the interaction. Any
Yes.
suggestions about topics you'd like to talk about or hear about, or if you just want to shout out and say, hey, feel free to do that because we really like that. Also, if you haven't done already, throw us a like. Make sure to comment and interact with it, especially since we're moving into new channels and stuff like that. It really helps us kind of get things geared up and spreading around a little bit. Just remember, from my final close on this whole thing, just remember, it's your stock trading is all about you, right? Like Carlos was kind of saying a minute ago, we often think there's like some massive cabal of like some people out there that are out to get us, some kind of weird. Now level 3 and stop hunting obviously does exist at a certain level.
Yeah. Yeah.
But most of the time when you're struggling or having an issue, and we've proven this in simulator, it's mostly self-inflicted, right? It's normally
Yeah.
because you're either not following your rules or your rules aren't good. But the only way you're going to build conviction on either of those things is to execute your trade plan and then journal it and evaluate it properly. Once you have those things, do them over and over again for enough time, and you will start to build confidence. But you need to understand, confidence will never come first. You are
Yeah.
never going to
Yeah.
feel confident, then start trading well. You're going to trade well, then start building confidence. And I know that is not always what we're going to hear, but when you come to the Carlos and Thor podcast, you're only going to get straight up honesty from us. So, and I
Yeah.
hope,
Yeah.
I hope that's cool and it keeps you coming back.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully, we don't scare you away with all that. But no, but seriously, guys, this is so important, and hopefully, that's something you can use to your advantage as a trader. Guys, remember you can reach us at podcast@bearable.traders.com. We also have for those listening on Apple Music, on Apple Podcasts, or Spotify. We also have a separate playlist now on YouTube for our Bear Bush Traders podcast. You can go in there and catch previous episodes that we have done here, and we look forward to seeing you to talking to you guys in the next episode. But yeah, take care, guys, and we will see you in the next one.
All right, talk to you later, people.